do have today a new guest, which I said already, which of course is Shaika, who I've met before when doing poetry. So Shaika today will be doing film review, and moving forward, every single Saturday, I expect her to be on the show here with me. Shaika, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me to the show.
You're very welcome. And how are you today?
I'm really good. I'm really excited to give you my critiques on all the movies that I've watched.
I'm very excited because normally I do it with Tassim, but now I know that we've got Tassim's friend as well. I've met you before as well during poetry, which is a funny story because we wrote a whole I think we did three poems, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then we had a whole little book. So we're published authors, just saying, guys. But what 3 films do you have for us today?
So it's 28 Years Later, How to Train Your Dragon, and Final Destination.
Okay, let's start with Final Destination because I've heard about it. I haven't watched the movie. But you're going to tell me a bit about it. So what is the movie about?
So the movie is about fighting death, or taking revenge from death, or like trying to escape death mainly. Okay. And it's like a franchise, so the previous movies about Final Destination, this is the one that has uploaded recently. I really like the movie because of the diversity there is. Not a lot of movies have such diverse people, so that's something that I find it interesting.
Right, so you said there were other films before this, so what were they? The first destination, second destination? What were the
something like that? Have you watched Scream?
No.
Oh.
Are these okay? So is this a horror movie?
Yes.
Okay, that's probably why I haven't watched it. I don't like horror movies. I get really scared. I try not to.
Do you know what I like about horror movies? Is getting scared.
Yeah. No,
I'm very weird, but if a horror movie doesn't make you scared, then is it obviously actually a horror movie?
It's obviously not a horror movie, but maybe a horror movie isn't for me. But okay, so who's actually in the film?
So the film starts with these 2 protagonists, and there's this proposal going to happen, but the protagonist doesn't know about it. And the protagonist is this preview of what's going to happen next. How I feel like if you've seen the trailer, you kind of know what's going to happen. They're about to die. Everyone there's about to die, but the protagonist saves it, and I'm not going to spoil it.
Okay, fine. But who stars in the film?
No, I don't really know who stars in the film.
Right, okay, fine. So let's move on to, what was it, How to Train a Dragon.
Yes.
This movie I've heard a lot about from my best friend. She talks about it all the time, but I haven't had a chance to watch it. So tell me a bit about it. Maybe I'll watch it when I go home.
So the reason why I love this movie is because it brings me back to my childhood. I think a lot of us, especially Gen Z, we've watched the cartoon How to Train Your Dragon, Hiccup, Toothless. So it's such a beautiful thing to reminiscent about. It gives you a nostalgia of your childhood, and that's why I really liked watching that movie. Obviously, I've heard so much about Disney movies, their reincarnations of the childhood movies not being really good, but this one, oh my goodness, when I tell you How to Train Your Dragon is immaculate. And the reason why it's so immaculate is because it's spot on to how the cartoon itself is.
Right.
I really like the plot twist towards the end. It was something unexpected because when I was watching the cartoon, I didn't really know about that person. I'm not gonna spoil it, but
okay, fine.
Yes.
But who would you watch the movie with? Like, let's say for someone who I haven't watched it before, so could I watch it with my family, friends?
Yes, obviously. I think if you have younger siblings, How to Train Your Dragon is the best movie to watch.
Okay.
I've watched it with my sister, and she's really young too.
Yes.
And I would say the horror movies are more like with your friends.
Yeah, I'm not watching the horror movie, no. I know my friends are going to creep up at me and just scare me anyways. It'll be more scary than the actual horror movie.
When I tell you, Final Destination kind of gave me paranoia after the movie.
So then why would I watch it?
But it's fun. I don't know. I like it.
How much would you rate Final Destination out of 10 and then How to Train a Dragon?
I wouldn't say that I didn't anticipate the ending. When you watch so many movies, you kind of already know how it's going to end. So I would say it's about a 7 out of 10. I was a bit shocked. When you watch a movie and you're like, okay, so we've seen the end, we're at the end. But then you're not at the end. That kind of thing.
Okay, fine. Out of a 10?
7.
7, okay, fine. And what about How to Train Your Dragon?
10 out of 10.
Fine, okay. And now let's talk about 28 Years. Is that the third movie?
Yes.
Okay, so what is 28 Years about?
So 28 Years Later is a movie about a zombie apocalypse kind of thing.
Why are these
like
all
a
like
virus?
scary movies?
Because I love horror movies.
Okay, fine.
But it's so different from the rest of horror genres. Even their previous movies, this is like a franchise. So
Right.
the first ever 28 Years movie was 28 Days, and that was really, really good. So this was a movie that's been anticipated for so many years, and I give it justice because this movie is so, so good. I think we can hear it a little bit. Oh no. But the reason why I like it, not everyone likes it, but I like it because it kind of breaks the fourth wall.
Right, okay.
You wouldn't think that a horror movie would be funny. But this movie is something about the quality in itself. It's kind of bad, but then they're so good. It's so realistic, and then it's not realistic, so that has that funny element to it. It's also relatable to the Gen Z or the people that are watching it. At one point, I was like, "Oh my God, are they talking to me?" Whilst I was watching the movie in the cinema. But yeah, it's about this virus that happened and people became zombies, and you're in a different island, and you're trying to... I don't know why the protagonist had to go to the main island, the main land, which is where every zombie is taken over by the virus.
Wouldn't want to be on that island. Not after the pandemic. Right. Okay, fine.
But it's so raw. I love movies that are raw and that you can kind of relate to in real life.
Right.
But it's not real life. But
of course, it is
right,
a film.
it's a
Of course, it's a film.
It's a
but
film.
how much would you rate that out of a 10?
I'll rate it 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10, okay.
But
So
you know, I would say this movie is for the people that love anime.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of anime.
Right. But I think people that love anime would love this movie only because there's this scene where it's from Attack on Titans. That's the anime name.
Right.
And it's just hilarious when you see them. I can't tell it. I can't say it.
It's fine. It's
Can
fine.
I say it?
I think we'll have to watch it.
Yeah.
We'll have to watch it and then we'll tell you about it. But thank you so much for being on the show today, Shaika.
No
Hopefully
worries.
I will see you on the next episode.
Maybe.